Janet, how did you solve this one? Janet's right here. Melina?
Okay. So what I did, I put. Oh, we factored.
You factored it? Okay.
Okay, so it's gonna be 2 parentheses sine x parentheses squared.
I got you. This?
Yeah. And then we add parentheses sine x parentheses -1 equals to 0.
Okay. That's not there. Now what? You could just tell me your binomials. Okay. If you did your x in your box, if you know another method of factoring, totally fine. What we're looking for is just taking factor. Melina, A times C. Your B value? Yeah. Remember, quadratic standard form looks like that. And you said your B value is what? 1. Your 2 numbers?
1. Wait. It's -1.
These 2 numbers multiply to be -2, and these 2 add to be 1, correct? Daphne, did you use the box to factor? Or did you do just guess and check? Can you help us fill out the box? Hopefully you recognize that you can factor this like 2x squared plus x minus 1. So if I told you that the first term goes in here, look at this one. The first term goes in there. What's the first term, Daphne? 2x squared is correct. And then you're going to use these greens. What would I write here? -1, we're going to add an x here. And the last box. Yeah, -1. So if you think about it, this is your first term. We're splitting the middle terms, and then we're doing the last terms. And the great thing about it is actually we're actually factoring by grouping here. UNet, greatest common factor? Greatest common factor? Greatest common factor? And greatest common factor? Correct. Leslie, what would I write in my binomials? X plus 1 and 2x minus 1. Leslie, what would I put in those gaps there? So 2 sine x minus 1 and sine x plus 1 equals 0. Robin, what do we do next? Okay, how would you simplify this one? How do you do that? What's left?
Sine equals -1.
How do you get x by itself?
And do the inverse.
Correct. Tell me what to write.
Sine parentheses 1 equals x.
-1 equals x. Robin, where are the locations where sine is -1? Is it a special right triangle or a quadrantal? So you're thinking it's a quadrantal, right?
Yeah.
It's not a special right triangle. You said 270?
Yeah.
Let's look here. Cosine, sine. 270 is correct. Raise your hand if you got 270. Good job, Ruben. Jennifer C., go ahead and do this side.
You have a Melissa Munoz? You have to finish testing.
Thanks. Jennifer C. Nelson.
So you add the 1 both sides.
Keep going.
2 sine x 1 by 2.
Uh-huh.
So it's sine x equals 1/2.
How do you get x by itself? How do you get x by itself?
You do the inverse sine.
Tell me what to write.
Sine inverse of 1/2 equals 2x.
Nelson, where is sine positive?
Quadrant 1 and 2.
Correct. And where is sine 1/2?
Sine is 1/2 on 60 degrees and 30 degrees and
30 degrees. And you said 150? So these are our preliminary answers, and you just put them together. Least to greatest. What do these three answers mean for us? If I take any of these angles here, and I substitute them back into the original equation, such as sine of 30. Sine of 30 is 1/2. 1/2 squared is 1/4. 2/4 plus sine of x is 1/2. So 1/2 plus 1/4 gives us, no, that was wrong. Let me do it by hand. 2 times sine of x. I'm kind of showing you guys how to check your answer and why you do this. Class, at sine at 30, what is our answer? 1/2. And we said sine at 30 is 1/2. So I'm doing like 30 degrees right now. So I'm just, same thing as you when you do equations. When you solve, you can check your answer by plugging the answer back in. Class, 1/2 squared is? 1/2 times 1/2 is? 1/4. 2 times 1/4 is? You can multiply across or cross cancel. 2/4 multiply across, right, which is 1/2. And then 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay? So you can check any of those, and eventually we might have to actually check them. So to review, if you see a problem like this, a student had asked me, Mr. Ring, how would you do a problem like this? I didn't know how to do it. It was a student who wasn't mine. And I said, can you factor that? 2x squared plus x minus 1. Put your trig function back in there, and then use your unit circle to simplify.